All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Amplify. I'm here with my friend Justin, and we have a super fun episode for you guys. We're going to talk about Icks when it comes to dating, tips from, the female perspective, male perspective when it comes to dating, when it comes to social media, all that kind of stuff. But as you know, we're going to get started with some rapid fire. So first
She
things
just told
first.
me about this, so we'll see what happens. I'm not prepared.
I'm really confident that you are going to nail it.
All right.
What is something that you're grateful for right now?
I'm grateful for good friends in my life that I can depend on, but it doesn't matter if I don't ask them for help. I used to have a limiting belief that I didn't want to inconvenience my friends, but then you really never get to see the good side of a friendship if you don't ask. So I've been doing that more often and seeing friends show up when I need it. And so I'm in a season of really appreciating the people in my life, my environment.
I love that. What is a guilty pleasure of yours?
Guilty pleasure. I don't even have to think about that. That is, I'm working on this. I'm going to sound so,
whatever it is.
I'm going to sound so hypocritical because we're talking about icks. However, this might be an ick for some of you. One of my guilty pleasures is having some chips or having some snack food in bed.
We talked about this.
Yeah, in bed and watching either a film or a YouTube video. So yeah, and I don't think it's that attractive, but when you're by yourself, sometimes it's
one of my favorite. No, that's one of the things that I've thought about, which I'm like, okay, what's the weird shit that I do that I'm not going to be able to do when I'm in a relationship?
Wow, really? Is that it?
When I'm living with somebody, right? And I don't know that the snack in bed at night thing is really.
Yeah, you get in the room and all of a sudden it's like you start hearing the crunchy bag and you're like, what is that? It's like, this is my guilty pleasure.
I would say mine is usually a little piece of chocolate or some frozen grapes.
Well, that sounds cute, but for me, it's like I'll have
bowl
three
of spaghetti.
things. No, not that. But I'll have maybe some cookies, maybe.
Okay, crumble.
Yeah, and then maybe a bag of popcorn that I got from Trader Joe's, and I don't know, maybe something else. But I mean, it's not good. I will tell you one thing that happened that was very embarrassing. I fell asleep having some chocolate and I woke up and it melted on my side. It was on my sheet. No. So I have melted chocolate skid marks on my sheet.
Amazing.
I'm like, this is disgusting, I have a problem. I cannot take this into a relationship, this is horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my guilty pleasure. I'm not going to be filtered. That's the first thing that came to mind.
I support it because that's something that I do as well.
Good. We're trauma bonding here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is a random fact that most people would not know about you?
I would say just my background. I grew up very insecure, weak, passive. People don't look at me and see that, but I was the ultimate geek growing up, playing the clarinet. But it's more acceptable for a woman than a guy. And wheeling around a suitcase in middle school didn't help. Having a late growth spurt as well. So I'd say that. And maybe one other thing that I haven't really mentioned before when somebody's asked me this question is I was a caretaker for somebody for 10 years of my life. So that's something that, is kind of an odd thing, especially when all through all my 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's really cool. If you weren't doing what you do now, what kind of job or career would you have? In an alternate universe?
I like what I'm doing now.
No, I know, but if you couldn't. I know.
If I couldn't?
Yeah. If it was you couldn't anymore. Or something that you've always thought oh, that could be really cool, but that's not the path for me.
Okay. And we're in an alternate universe. The first thing that came to mind is I would teach people how to fly more effectively. We're talking about
flying
an alternate universe. Wait, personal flying, flying through the air, in another universe. We have zero gravity in that universe. And I love adventuring and I'd love to teach people how to jump off cliffs and dive and go into the water and under the water. I teach them how to explore a little bit more beyond what we're limited to.
I would say that's the most creative answer to that
question. Good, because I don't know. I feel like if I said anything else, it's why am I not doing that?
Right. Okay. Anyhow, next one. What did you want to be when you were little?
When I was little?
You're like a flying instructor. Just said it.
Yeah, duh.
I figured I couldn't do that.
Not a fireman, not the president. What? Oh, okay. Well, when I was 13, I never really thought of it until I was 13 and somebody asked me, what do you want to do when you get older? And I was like, oh no, what have you always dreamed of doing? And I was like, well, I don't know. Nobody ever really asked me that. I don't know why. But I remember thinking to myself, I want to be an actor. I want to do the movies that Brad Pitt and Christian Bale are in, you know, all these superhero movies. And I remember watching the movie Troy and thinking, man, I want to be that guy. So yeah, so I pursued acting for a good season. And then I realized, you know, I like what I'm doing now, because at the end of the day, you're only as good as your last job and how big of a job it was. And I've done it, but now I'm ready to just embrace more in-person relationships. And I feel like it's kind of like a red flag too to date somebody who's an actor. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's an ick.
It's not on my ick list, but I mean, we can
It's a
say it,
warning.
but it's kind of on my no list.
Really? Oh, he's an actor. He's in the industry. He's working on
But we can
this.
get to that later.
Okay.
We can get to that later. I'm asking the questions right now.
Okay,
I'm answering them. Any weird talents or special skills?
I got a lot of special skills. I can walk down staircases on my hands.
Amazing.
A lot of people know me as being the man who does backflips in any environment. I'm the guy who will make you feel nervous if you're going on a hike and you're near a cliff. I'm that weird guy who's just like, how close can you get? You know, and at the end of the day, I feel like I'm very safe with it. I don't want to be careless. I've made it this far, but I don't want to push I like pushing the limits from things that I know are okay, but I always have a healthy respect for things that I should be cautious of. But you said, okay, so any
Talents.
weird talents. Okay, weird
So,
talents.
I mean,
That's not
handstand
weird.
walking downstairs. That's
a
pretty
special
impressive.
talent, but
That's
not, yeah, but a weird talent. Just trying to think. I bet I can beat you tying a knot with a cherry stem. I bet
For time?
what?
For time?
Yeah, for time. Bet I can do that. Do you have a cherry stem?
No.
I'm trying to think a weird one though. Okay. This isn't very attractive, but it's a weird one. That's what a weird talent is. I always like to go with the initial gut instinct. I remember
I like
as a kid, like you're just obsessed with like, you know, the arm farts things and things like that. And I figured out a couple other ways to be able to make that sound. And I was able to, like, if my shirt's off and I'm on tile, I can form like a suction cup on my back with the tile and make that sound. And then also I got a lot, I was able to figure out how to do that with my knees, cup you know, with the knees and just rapid fire. And just like I'm in rapid fire right now. That's a weird talent.
Full circle. Fire. Thank you. Lovely.
I've never shared any of that
I
stuff.
love
so
this.
it's great.
We're really getting to know each other, or I'm getting to know you, and
Yeah.
so are they. When's the last time that you cried?
A couple weeks ago, more than I've ever cried in my entire life.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You were just telling me. Last time you laughed so hard you almost peed your pants.
Laugh so hard.
Or last time you just had a really good laugh.
So not soon enough. Not, you know, it hasn't been that recent. Man, that's a good one. You know, we need to have those deep belly laughs.
Okay.
So I would imagine, I'd say maybe once or twice this year, maybe more, but I don't know. But like that, I mean, there's not that many people in my life that are funny. So I don't know. It's
I feel like I cried laughing like this week. And it's
yeah, but to the point of almost peeing, you know, like, I mean, I feel like I'm good control in that. Okay. So man, it's not a fair
moving
question.
on. What's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say lobster. Yeah, it's my favorite.
Okay. Where's the next place that you want to travel to?
Well, a place I want to go next year is because I still have time left in this year. That's not going to be overseas, which is still fun. But my next place that I really look forward to going to is in Norway. So I'll go there next year and I want to see the fjords and I want to hike the mountains and do all that. That's what I'm really looking forward to. But I know there's adventure trips between now and then. I just haven't planned them out yet.
Okay, cool.
I like to, when you ask me a question, I like to pepper it in with a bunch of other things.
I like it. I appreciate it. It makes, you know, you're adding to the conversation. It makes it more interesting and more fun.
More lively, a little different, and it's not boring. I mean,
like you've done this before.
Just back and forth would be
no. So boring.
Good.
And that leads us to getting into the meat of the conversation. So
some icks.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, so we met at a friend's birthday party a few weeks ago, and I don't even remember how this conversation came up.
You remember her name?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, our friend Lauren, same name as me. And I don't even remember how this conversation came up, but there was a group of us like just riffing on icks when it comes to the opposite sex and dating and stuff like that. And we figured this would be a really fun conversation to have. So,
Oh, I think I remember how it started. You talked about having a podcast. You just kept on talking about yourself.
oh my
I'm
God.
kidding. No, she did not. She did not. No, but at some point something came up and she said, "Oh my gosh, like that would be." I mentioned something and she said, "Oh, she has a podcast." And I think I checked out her Instagram and then noticed that you did some podcasting on there. And that's when I said I had an idea of talking about icks. And then you were like, "Hey, well, we can talk about this and that." And we were like, "Let's do it."
Yeah, but I don't even know how we got on the topic of icks.
I think because when I saw your social media and saw the
You were like,
podcast, I was like, this could be it. Because we can riff back and forth. I thought that would be a good topic to be able to riff back and forth on a podcast.
Anyway, we're here now. And so before we get into this, why don't we share a little bit about what our so we're both single. And I mean,
we are both single and ready to mingle.
We're both single and available. No, but this conversation, I don't know, it might
By the time it
eliminate
gets posted,
a lot of people.
You know, who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it might.
It could eliminate a lot of.
This is secretly telling you what we like and what we don't like.
And how high maintenance we are as well. Or maybe just speaking for myself.
Yeah.
Did you just?
Yeah, I did.
I own that. I am high maintenance. Anyway. So,
but for things that matter, I think it's important.
Yes.
You can be high maintenance for things that matter. If you're, anyway, enough.
Yeah, not like the superficial, spoiled, entitled high maintenance. I'm like because I feel like that's easier. I'm like high standards, expectations, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so I don't know. I enjoy dating. Do you enjoy dating?
I think it's good. I wasn't always like that, but I'm more, it's the more curious about it.
Yeah.
And that makes it more fun instead of. I think when you're on the offense, it's way better than being on the defense. Meaning, what I mean by that is if you're on the defense when you're fearing rejection, but when you're on the offense, you're like, hey, it's your choice too. You determine whether or not you want to pursue that person. Whereas I've met a lot of guys where they're like, oh man, I like this girl or she likes me, so I need to figure out if it's going to work. I'm like, well, figure out if you like her. Don't just wait for somebody to like you. I feel like a lot of guys on the dating apps, they'll just like check. Only do that for people you actually want to get together with. Don't just be like a bottom feeder and see who picks you. I feel like that's.
Though I think it is such a numbers game sometimes with men because, and I don't have the statistics like in my brain or anything like that, but with men on dating apps, they're usually like such a low percentage of like getting matches for the majority of men on dating apps, whereas like women are
they're flooded,
inundated, right?
Yeah.
So, do you use apps at all?
No, I'm off it. I used to use one, and then I just felt convicted. I feel like it enables me from going on natural dates. For example, if you're on a dating app, if you're on one, do you or do you not spend a lot of time on there? I felt like it was a time suck, and I didn't want to do it. So it forces me to go out there and get that need met in a healthy way of approaching women instead of just thinking, oh, let me see who's available.
Yeah.
Yeah. That to me, that's why I'm currently not on one right now. So
I haven't been on apps for like 2 years, I would say, probably over 2 years, though I've had like little moments where I'm like, let's just see. And then I like download it for like a weekend and I'm like, nope, this is why, no, get off.
Do you get on it just to see if any messages have come through?
No, because when I get off, I completely delete my profile.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I delete my entire existence off of the dating app.
What's your profile? What's your dating app of choice?
It used to be Hinge.
Okay.
And then sometimes Bumble, but yeah, it's zero in the last couple years, aside from, like I said, like maybe I've probably been on dating apps for a total of like 2 weeks, if we're adding all the days together, in the last like 2.5 years.
Okay.
And I prefer it. I prefer not being on them.
Do you prefer a man asking you out in person?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, out in the real world.
Yeah.
And because also so many things, and this isn't a conversation of dating apps, but we're gonna make it one. It's just is like social media scrolling for one. So it's that same sort of like kind of dopamine habit, which I don't think is good for us to do a lot of. It also, dating apps make you think that, oh, if I just spend a few more minutes on it, I'm gonna find like the next best option.
This one doesn't work.
So it's
10 more.
Exactly.
That's it.
So it's very like,
yeah.
Like it's just a weird consumerist kind of loop that you get in that's like fake a lot of the times. And I think that it's very easy for people to present a very curated version of themselves on an app, which like I'm sure for men too, but for women can be like kind of dangerous, right? And then you also don't get the like vibe check from somebody.
You want to know the
in
best
person.
idea for a dating app?
What?
This would save you so much time, in my opinion. We'll get into this later, but having a dating app, I can't believe I'm saying that. Well,
No.
I don't plan on. I
sign an
have a
NDA.
lot of ideas.
Don't
you know,
worry.
you guys don't have to sign an NDA, but you're not going to sign one, but everyone else. So it's having a dating app where you are forced to create a video, and you have like 15 seconds. You have to, almost like Snapchat. You press your finger on it. You have to just say something, and you get one shot at it. And it's anything, but it's literally, think about it. It's not forcing you to do it at any moment, but you literally press down and you're just yourself. You may make a mistake, but that's okay. But it shows
You
you,
get one take, and it's
unless you're a premium user, and then you
course.
can maybe get a second one, which I think is a great marketing technique. But you give that person a chance of seeing how they sound, because I mean, let's face it. Have you ever been on a date and like you don't like the person's voice, or you don't even know how they?
That's an ick that I should put
that
on
would
my
save
list.
you.
Yes.
I don't see apps that have that.
Wait. Hold on though.
Okay.
Are you saying you've gone on, and actually I think men do this often, but like you would go on a date with somebody that you met on an app without like having an actual phone call or FaceTime with them?
I used to in the past, and then I said that's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
And I'll do a FaceTime like 95% of the time. Yeah.
Yes.
I've made the mistake before. However, somebody set me up on a blind date once, and she was a really close friend of mine. She sent a picture of her eye and sent her a picture of my shoulder,
Interesting.
just to kind of show I'm not like some out of shape dude or whatever. That's what she did. I don't know why, and then she gave the first letter of our names and connected us in a group chat and said, "Hey, I think you both deserve to know each other exists, and let's see what happens." It was kind of cool. And
With
oddly,
the intention of it being completely, literally blind.
yeah. And what's funny, here's ironic. This is a crazy story. I ended up meeting her. I ended up chatting with her, and I was on my way to LA because I had a last minute client. And I found out, I didn't know her name at the time. I didn't know where she lived. I said, "Where do you live?" "Orange County." "Oh, cool. I'm actually driving through Orange County now, heading up to LA. I said, "This is kind of crazy, but like, what if we just kind of drove off in the sunset? The sun was about to set. I pick you up." I don't
Hey,
know how.
stranger, what's your address? Let me come pick you up and get into my car.
But it was a recommended
Ladies.
friend that we both trust, so it's different. I said, "What's your address?" She was 7 minutes away, and I said, "This is crazy, but how about I pick you up? We go to my client's place, you borrow my car, and we get to meet each other and get to know." And she said yes. She changed her plans, picked her up, and we set it off in the sun, drove in the sunset to LA, had a great time, and dropped her off. It's crazy. And we had her FaceTime her friend who introduced
A mutual
us.
friend.
Yeah, and I was filming that from the side, like, "Hey, so what do you think?" "Well, I don't really know yet." And then all of a sudden, I'm like, "Who's that?" And it's like, "Oh, get out of here." She just introduced us, and we're like in the car like an hour later.
Cute.
It's bizarre.
Did you go on another date?
Well, that particular story, I was open to it. I think we both mutually felt like, well, I don't know, I'm just assuming that maybe it wasn't the person, like they weren't, I don't know. I initiated a date, but then she had to cancel last minute. And I was just like, all right, so, and then it just kind of dwindled, and I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I just let that go. And I didn't have a piece about, or I didn't have that gut feeling to pursue.
Okay.
So I feel like that's kind of a good sign, or maybe I saved myself some time.
Yeah.
Anyway, big tangent there.
It's all right.
Go with asking the questions.
All right. We were talking about dating. Yes. Okay. So as we said, we were both single, and I don't know. I like dating and ready to mingle. I like dating. I think I'm good at dating, but let's get into the icks. Should I start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So these aren't in any particular order.
Yeah, these aren't the worst or building up.
We're not ranking these things. It's just whatever came to mind. And I also am going to say that I'm a Virgo, so this probably is going to make a lot more sense with how many icks and how specific some of these are.
She showed me. I haven't seen them, but she has a whole list. It's crazy.
I have a whole list.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck, guys. Okay, so
God, maybe the next one.
but why did the first one
You could be limiting a lot of potential here from guys.
I have something I need to act out. Okay, so men who like do like a lot of like lip licking, not to you, but like But like they'll check you out like,
So don't have chapped lips, guys. Like
no, but you know what I'm saying? It's that like,
Oh,
that kind of shit.
Oh, that. Okay. I used to think
Gross.
that was sexy growing up, and
No.
then I looked at like
It's-
videos. I'm like, yeah, that's.
It's
not
like
good.
what like the little TikTok boys do, right?
Yeah.
When they're like making videos for like girls.
What about biting the bottom lip?
Yeah, like that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Don't check me out and like do that. Like, no, gross.
What about a wink?
I mean, like a well executed wink can be pretty
Okay, let me just say, for the record, icks are unattractive qualities of the
Oh,
opposite
yes,
sex,
thank you.
right? However, but an ick is not an ick if you really like that person. I've heard it dissolves if you really like that person, for the most part. That's what I've heard.
So yes, so if you're not sure what an ick is, it's like though I also have heard that women experience the ick more than men.
Oh, yeah,
experience the
100%.
ick, right? And so it's
If
like
she's
a
attractive, nothing matters.
Exactly.
What kind of visual?
they're
But
like, huh? Is she a girl?
icks, I don't really have any icks. And yeah, I guess that. Okay, this one. Okay, that's
But
true.
it's like a visceral reaction that makes you just feel icky, right?
Wow.
And so yeah, so the lip licking, like checking, yeah, that sort of thing is gross. It's just not. It's not
Yeah.
it. Okay, should I keep going or?
Yeah, one
you
more,
wanna try-
and then I'll I may agree with it. And
Okay. Well, this one I think you'll agree with. So men who don't make like clear, decisive plans or take action, like just like,
the passive guy,
yeah.
the nice guy. Hey, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Anything, whatever you want.
Yes. Do not ask me for a first date what I feel like doing. And that's not to say that I don't want to be involved and asked, what do I want? What do I like? That sort of thing. Because absolutely. But like for the first date, especially, do not be like, so what do you feel like doing? Not going on a date with you anymore is what I feel like doing.
Yeah, so you just blew it. So I like to be considerate, but I've learned that you don't want to ask questions. I would say, for me, I guess what would you prefer in this? Say, hey, well, I guess the first date, we already know, just find a location and pick it. However, in the way I'd like to naturally be day to day is, hey, I'm thinking of a couple of options.
Yeah.
You know, which
Oh, I
sounds
am
best.
great
Is
with
that's
options.
fine for a
Yes.
first option for a
Yes.
first date?
For a first date, I'm
Okay.
great with options. If
Took
someone's
initiative to
like-
find a place.
Yes, but taking initiative, and like, oh, I'm thinking of like these two places, or what's your favorite food, or like,
Yeah.
are you in the mood for anything particular? I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't take it as like wet noodle because I'll be like,
But don't just wait. It's like the worst thing you can do in improv is not give somebody information. You're like, well, what do you want to do? Whatever you want to do. It's like, no, just say, you give them an offer. Say, hey, let's do seafood.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite spots in mind? Whatever. But at least you're giving them some information. Maybe it's not the best example, improv, but you don't want to just ask people questions. You want to give them something
yeah,
to work
like
with.
come out with that like assertive
masculine,
leadership
yeah.
energy, please, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me
You
take it
wanna
over.
Do some.
All right. Let's see. I've got a bunch of little notes here. An ick. You know, it's funny. The first thing on my list are women who are excessively masculine.
Yeah.
And I've got a what?
I said I agree.
So women who have their own podcasts, women who just start all the time and no, I'm kidding. They're leading with no, I'm kidding. No, it's totally
Oh.
fun. So here are a couple things. I've just got on this category, women who are always leading the pack, like if you're wanting to go for a walk, they're constantly guiding you where to go and they're in front and you don't even get a chance to express where you want to go. I think some of those women don't know they're doing that, but I've been in those situations where it's like that person's always up front and they're directing where to go. I even had the point where I'm like, hey, let's go here. And they're like, well, you can go there and I can wait here. And it's just, I want to do life with them. And I want to women should allow men to lead. If not, then they're going to get tired of that eventually. But a couple things are insisting their own way all the time instead of, like I said, allowing you to lead, asking me out instead of me asking them out. It's one thing to be flirty, but if they're like, hey, we should go out sometime, we should do coffee. No, don't do that. No, just say, hey, okay, this is a freebie here. If you like a guy, the best thing you could do is say, hey, comment on their post or affirm them in something. Guys like to be affirmed. Say, hey, I really like what you're about. I really can resonate with how you love encouraging people in X, Y, and Z. And then maybe offer to join if they're not picking up on that, if they're not reaching back out and initiating. The next best step, in my opinion, is see how they are in action. Like say, hey, I'd love to check out more of what you do. Like, I think you're very encouraging. Like, is this open to everybody? Or I don't know, just get in their circle and give them an opportunity for them to, because some guys are slow. They won't pick up on it.
Yeah,
And
I'm glad you
yeah,
said that because that's one of my, yes, absolutely. Like, don't ask the guy out. Don't ask the guy out. But
yeah,
it is important to, and I think helpful for men to like know that you're interested, right? To
yeah.
like give
It
a
helps. It
sign,
helps.
right? Because I think a lot of men don't want to come off creepy or weird or
Yeah.
anything like that, right? There's
Yep.
like so much like sensitivity around that. I feel like not from the men's perspective, but like women getting hit on, like some women can respond really like extremely,
Yeah.
and like yell at some guy just for like saying she's hot or something.
Yeah.
Right? So it is, I think, important to like give a signal that you would be open to being hit on.
Yeah. 100%. I can get more into that later. But because I got a good one on that where guys have no other choice but to say they're pretty. For example, like if you have a profile picture and your account is private and they can't even see your face or, where it's like the back of the head on a profile picture, you don't even know who they are. It's a private account. Like, what are you doing? You might as well not even have an Instagram or not even, if you're single and you have that, you have no chance, in my opinion, in the
Yeah.
social media world, unless somebody knows you. Or if you, for that case, if you just have a private account, I think you're doing yourself a disservice by not having it public, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me. But a couple quick things with their masculine. There's a little funny side note. Don't ask a guy to dance multiple times. It's a turn off.
To dance where?
If you're out somewhere, like it's fine to say, hey, do you want to dance if you like somebody dancing? I love dancing.
Okay.
But I've had women ask me multiple times to dance. It's like, no, it's such a turn off. I feel like there was one point where I felt obligated. I'm like, I feel like taking advantage of you. I don't like this. It's like, I should have said no,
Well, and because if you're a masculine man and you're getting like repeatedly asked out like that, that's masculine
Oh,
energy.
it's horrible.
Masculine
There's like no
energy.
chance.
It's
You've
not,
solidified not
yeah, no,
ever having a
please.
date.
Let the man ask you out, please.
Yeah, that would be pursuing somebody too much. And I think the last thing I have with masculine energy is, it depends. If you're in the fitness industry or if you love working out, you don't want to be stronger than the guy.
No.
Now, if you're a woman and you love working out, great, awesome. You're going to hopefully be with a bodybuilder, but you're probably not going to be with a guy that is not as strong as you. So I don't know. I don't want a woman that looks like a man. I don't, or too angular, but at the end of the day, it's fine. But one other thing about that strength is, I once dated a woman who was into CrossFit and awesome. I loved it. But at the end of the day, she was so strong that at one point we were working out together. I'm like, dang, she's like deadlifting. Like, I'm like, I've never deadlifted this much. I'm like, I would like pull my back. Like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know if this is that attractive. I'm like, I want a woman that's a little weaker than me. Fortunately, I was able to do it, but I was like, I'm secure with myself. But that was one of those things where I'm like, naturally, a man doesn't want a woman that's
Right.
stronger. I was good upper body, but that was just a fun little side note where I'm like, if you're both in shape, hopefully the guy's a little stronger.
Yes. I mean, that'd be a requirement for me.
And that women want to feel tiny too and want to feel protected.
Yes. And we want to feel tiny. We want to feel protected. We want to feel like you can just toss us around. And also like if we're out in the world and shit's going down, like I don't want to feel like I have to fight for myself, right? Like I will put up a good fight, but like, yeah, I need to know like, oh, my man's going to handle this shit.
There was a friend of mine, the straw that broke the camel's back in their relationship was his girlfriend was walking her dog and some other dog started fighting with her dog and he didn't do anything. He just kind of backed away and she was forced to have to take them away, and that was like, I don't feel like I have a guy that can help me,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that was a true story.
I've had situations
where they
like
kind
that.
of retreated.
Yeah, where I've like been grabbed by other men when I'm out with my man and then been like, why did you see what happened? Or why didn't you step in or what?
Yeah, and you don't want to look for a fight. You don't want to
No.
get injured, but take initiative and either protect her, but don't allow her to be the one who's solving the problem.
Yeah.
Guys want to solve the problem. Make sure you're solving the problem when it actually counts, especially when danger's in the equation.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Well, we're doing great. We've gone through just a few. We'll probably go rapid fire with some of these.
I know.
We'll
We
see.
could go deep on all this. Okay, I'll hit a few. Some of these are just superficial and personal preference. Like, right? Like, I just want to be clear with this. Vegans. A vegan man is an ick for me.
Yeah, or a man who orders oat milk instead of regular milk
I mean,
for their coffee.
I'm not that picky
I've heard
with the
some
milk.
women, they're like, if you order oat milk, it's over. You might as well, yeah, just,
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm like, yeah, I want like a meat eating, like,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, vegan is not going to work for me.
I agree. I don't think I could do that. Vegetarian, I don't even think I can do that unless there's sparks flying and it's something really amazing.
Yeah.
I want to be on a hike and be able to enjoy beef jerky with that person.
Yeah.
If not, then I don't know.
I'm literally making homemade beef jerky right now.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of beef jerky? Just beef jerky? Is there a certain type, like venison?
No. Oh, no, it's just beef.
Beef. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, next, splitting the bill. I mean, I hope that's an obvious one.
On the first date, you should always split the bill.
First date.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Like, this could be very awkward.
Dates. Not on any dates.
No, not on
Until
any.
you're like maybe in a serious relationship, and then it's like cute to like pay for stuff here and there, right?
Yeah.
Or be like,
yeah.
oh, I'm gonna surprise
However,
you.
if
You've taken me on so many dates, I'm gonna surprise you with something.
yeah, I think that's good. I agree with that because a woman wants to feel provided for.
Yeah.
I will say though, in some rare dynamics where you have the woman making so much more money, even in that situation, I think, let's say you go on a trip together and it's like, she wants to go on this type of trip. You can't really afford that, but you talk about it and say, hey, if we want to go on this trip and I'm talking about like they have so much more money.
Yeah.
Say, hey, why don't you take care of the lodging and I'll take care of like the food and, so it's within his budget and she's able to take care of some of the other stuff. But I think in that situation, it is good for the man to be able to take care of the food.
Yeah.
There's something psychological about that. Even if she's paying for more, you need to be secure with yourself. But also I feel like there's something in that to know that you're providing food, that primal instinct.
Yeah.
Here's some food I got. I didn't kill it or anything, but I bought it with a fraction of the money that you paid for everything else.
Yeah. I don't think, as I'm saying that, I don't think I've ever been asked to split a bill. I mean, when I was married, the finances were split in a lot of ways, but I don't think I've ever like dated somebody and had them ask or expect.
Okay, I could think of one good way, the only way that you would ever, in my opinion, be excused to offer to split the bill would be is if you're on the date, it's not going to work out and she's rude, then you might be able to say, hey, I enjoyed meeting you. 2 checks.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if I would do that. I've been on dates before where this is horrible. This is exposing my character. Been on a date before. I knew it wasn't going to work out, but I was hungry and I'm like, I knew she was hungry and I'm like, you want to get a bite to eat? It's horrible. I know it's probably leading her on. And we got a bite to eat and I'm like, I'm going to cover it. I don't know. I could have done Dutch, but I didn't want to do that.
No, I think that's
But I believe you should always have I know we're talking about dating here, but I think it's always good to let them know right after that date or within a day or two.
What?
Like if you're going to go on
next
another
steps?
date. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ever ghost them.
Yes.
That's just
Yes.
not.
Do not ghost.
It's just a horrible quality of being a human being.
Right. And both people, like, right, like should be, if it's at the end of the day, like, oh, I had such a great time, I'd love to see you again, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Then,
or if you don't know, I've not known, and I said, hey, look, I enjoyed spending time with you. Let me just process everything. That's not like a no. I just genuinely want to not make a rash decision, but I take this seriously, and I enjoyed getting to know you, but I want to just like really set on it. That's probably not a good sign.
No,
it's probably not a good sign. But some things are a slow burn. That's horrible.
I think
she's gonna be like, no way.
Well, so I'm very like my gut and my intuition is like so on. So I'll know very quickly. I'll know very quickly if I want to go on a date with somebody and then if I want to go on another date with them.
I feel the same way, but sometimes I feel like I'm too picky. Like maybe I should give it a second date because they're too nervous. Or I'm too nervous. So I've heard if you give it 2 or 3 dates, but if you know, but I try to give them the benefit of the doubt now of maybe it's not perfect. Let's give it another shot.
Yeah, if something feels like a maybe to me, I'll go on another date.
Women are more open to that, I think, than men are. And I'm trying to be more open to that.
Yeah.
Because your types could be formed from a dysfunctional state. And you're like, she's not really my type. I like this or that. But most married men that I've talked with about this, they marry somebody that they absolutely love and they weren't their typical type.
Really?
Oh, a lot.
Interesting, because I would probably advise somebody to not be like, that would be like a, not red flag, but that would be like a thing to pay attention to. If someone's type is super consistently one way and you're not that, why? Right? Because that type doesn't necessarily change for somebody.
It could.
Right?
Oh, it
Like,
does. It does. For
I'm
married
sure it probably
couples, one
could.
guy was opened up with me and he's like, he was always a butt guy, but his wife was not really a butt woman, you know?
Yeah.
But then he became a boob guy, you know? And it just totally changed. And he's so grateful that he didn't allow something that's so superficial
Right.
that after 10 years, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but those things change and it's better to make that mature decision. And okay, I'll tell you this helped me. One of my mentors told me that on his list of things he was looking for in a woman, he looked at that list and the woman he's now married to, she didn't even fit all those qualities. She met half of those, less than half of those, but the ones that mattered so much that the rest melted away. Yeah. So it's like, that was really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's so important to like know very clearly what's on your must-have list, like non-negotiable must-have.
That'll be another podcast.
Right? Exactly. We're going to start a dating podcast. And then also what you're
a lot of people were like, yes, yes. I just sensed it.
And then also like what your absolute like deal breakers are, and then knowing what your nice to haves are too.
Yes.
Right? Like bonus if they have the nice to haves.
Like a huge list of those.
So remember, I'm a Virgo, right? We've got a spreadsheet cross-referencing all this shit.
Fill this out. I'll give you a call.
Here's the application. There's an application fee and everything. Okay. We talked about splitting the bill. Okay. So this is another one, another ick. A man who has like a super aesthetic Instagram or like a lot of selfies on his Instagram.
Oh, I agree with the selfies, but the aesthetics, what if somebody runs it for him?
There's an exception to that, that I will say. If somebody's running it for him, yes. If he uses his Instagram
For
as
business.
Yes, as a business platform and stuff like that, then
Mine's business.
then like I don't think that's an issue at all.
Okay.
But if he's like but also
Tons of selfies, I agree.
if there's a ton of selfies,
The duck
you're in your
face
feminine
too
energy.
for women.
You're in
I
your
think
feminine
that's-
energy and you're looking for female validation. Like that's all I'm
Or what about the ab shots a lot?
right.
Like
the gray sweatpants shots.
the gray sweatpants?
Do you not know what that is?
No, I don't.
I mean, I don't know that you should.
Are we talking about like sexual type,
Like how it's like suggestive
okay,
and like not
okay.
revealing, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
that sort of thing. Like
I
guys would do
gotcha.
it and you're like, bro, we know what you're doing.
just like we know when women are like their cleavage is all up in everything or the angle is just
dang.
right. Yeah.
We have done that.
It's fine to maybe throw that in there, maybe one shot, but if you have a bunch of
Yeah.
them, it's a turn off for me.
Yeah. Yes. I would say that goes both ways. So yeah, like a lot of selfies
So black pants, black sweatpants. It's classier.
or just like send that directly to whoever you're saying. I don't know.
Okay, so it's appropriate, but yeah.
Like no,
So
no,
send,
no.
if you
Hold on.
gray sweatpants,
Hold on, no.
it's a yes.
I did not
but if it's
say,
a PM,
I did not. No, once there's like an established dynamic.
then the gray sweatpants are okay.
Not,
Oh my goodness,
Not unsolicited, please.
that's funny.
Where am I? Oh yeah, we said lots of lots of selfies on social media. Even I also would get the ick if I'm dating somebody and he's sending me like just texting privately me a lot of selfies.
Yeah, I've always felt weird about that. I know
Yeah.
women would usually send me some photos and it's like, oh, this is nice. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that would probably be nice for them. But I'm not like that guy, but it is kind of cool to do that.
Yes, yeah.
I think maybe a personalized video would be better, but the photo,
Yeah,
it's just-
sometimes
it's
it's
something
like
for me.
because then you're like picturing him being like, "Where's my light?" Or like it's just it
Yeah,
feels
I
like
agree.
such a and this is so like it just feels like such a girly thing to do sometimes.
I agree.
Though I will say like if there's distance involved or you haven't seen each other in a while, a nice
Do a
selfie is
FaceTime.
good.
Do
Yeah,
a
but a FaceTime
FaceTime.
is much
Yeah.
better. Or you like oh,
I think
cool thing.
I think that's the best solution. Forget about a photo. If she asks for it, give it to her,
Yeah.
but go on a
Love-
FaceTime.
I
Because
love
then,
a FaceTime.
yeah, because then it's like you don't have those photos. You want to see them in person.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Yes. Okay.
Guys are taking notes,
Oh.
hopefully.
I mean, I feel like these next two are controversial. Should I say them?
After I share these, we all know the obvious hygiene. You want to have good hygiene.
Yeah.
Don't, take care of yourself. I'm not saying you have to have the most perfect teeth, but clean them, And also I did some on-air work with a celebrity dentist on teeth whitening. Do some basic teeth whitening. It'll improve your appearance so much. It'll make you look younger, all these things. And having decent nails, don't have them. I used to bite my nails growing up and up until 22 years old. it was a bad habit, and it's a sign of insecurity, self-sabotage. It's not good. Good, but I'm talking about women, but I'm saying like, hey, you don't want something, you don't want to see a great quality in a woman and not be willing to bring that to the table yourself. Obviously, well, guys, clean shaven, but women, if you have hair on your face, like, I feel like that's, you know, take care of that. Like it's true. No, I've seen that. Like I'm not saying we're all human beings.
Yeah.
I know women could have hair on their face, but it is more desirable if you're kissing them and you don't feel that prickly hair back or peach fuzz back. And I'm just being real. Like it's a real thing. So yeah, the facial hair and smell pleasant, take a shower.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Take a shower. These are great suggestions. Okay, so why am I nervous to say this? Yeah, because men who are like super liberal politically,
Okay.
I can't do it.
So if you're liberal, just apply it the other way. Like if they're extreme Republican or whatever, but
I'm not even like super.
I don't think you
like,
can
I'm very,
date
like,
the
in
person
middle.
if you're not on the same political party. I think that's a deal breaker.
It is for me.
100%. I know, but some people who don't care about anything, which I don't really think you can do in this world. It's just negligence. I feel like you're being ignorant is a choice, and I don't think that should be an option. I think you should be one or the other. If you don't know, you don't know. But yeah.
Yeah. Because like I absolutely need someone who has shared values. If it's like I have friends with different political beliefs and stuff like that, that's not an issue at all. But it's like
your person.
My person, yes.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna like do life with somebody, I don't just want to have shared values because you can have shared values and very different ways of how you think those values should be
100%.
put into practice, right? So I want to like
have all types of friends, different. They identify as whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
I love you as a person, but I want to make sure we're aligned, core values, goals. Are you driven? Am I driven? Like, dive into that stuff. But politically, you got to be on the same page.
Yes. Which leads me to my next one. Any men, and this is like, I feel like so specific to LA too, which I hate.
Okay.
Men who describe themselves as feminists.
I've never heard of that. That's
really?
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
No, I feel like if a guy, here's the way I see it. Okay,
when I was on dating apps, men would actually put that kind of shit in their like dating app profiles here in Los Angeles.
Okay, that's interesting. My version of that would be for me, and this is finding your person. I don't care if you're a friend of mine and you have pronouns. Hey, that's on you. But if I'm looking for somebody, I want to know that she, in my opinion, she knows who she is and she is her. She doesn't. I'm like, she is a her. She, her. So it's going to be misinterpreted. No, but I for somebody who has pronouns, for me, that's a deal breaker for me.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a friend of mine, that's fine, but we're not going to probably be together.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
But I will say there was one woman I spoke with about it. She had a her, him, and I asked her about it. I discerned. She thought it was like, oh, I don't like the pronouns, but I believe in a man and a woman. There's only two genders. She had no idea.
I think some people also don't understand what to do with those on apps.
That's for good reason. Yeah. Sometimes they're like, what am I doing? I don't understand. But I get it. You know what? Hey, this is our opinion. If it offends you, it's okay. But at the end of the day,
don't cancel us. You just can't date us.
Yeah, that's all.
Anyway. Okay, another ick, doesn't open doors.
Yeah, we'll just close the door on that one. That's
rude.
Yeah.
Doesn't offer to pick me up. And I will say though,
like, hey.
No,
that too.
Yeah. But like, no, drive to pick me up like for a date. I get it if we're coming from very different directions.
You think it's okay to meet halfway? Where's the break off? What if it's an hour away? Like that's an hour there and an hour back. First date, take the trip up there and then talk about it if you feel like things are going well. If it's an hour or 2 hours away, what are your thoughts?
As a princess.
No, forget about LA. LA. I'm talking about not LA traffic. LA traffic is, even if it takes 2 hours, I think you should do it.
Yeah.
But I mean like if it's over 80 miles away, if it's if it's like 70, 80 miles away, do you think it's okay to initiate halfway, or hey, you go up there and knowing it's going to be 3 hours of your time just driving? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts as a
feminine,
as a as a woman is I want the man to drive to me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I wanted I want to know. So
Yeah. Though I think like once once something is kind of like established or you're seeing each other, then I think it makes more sense to balance those things out. But I love being courted
yeah,
and I love when a man
offers
goes
to
out
pick
of
you up
offers to pick me
because
up.
sometimes women don't feel comfortable, and
Right.
it's okay to say, "Hey,
Oh yeah.
I'd love to pick you up, or we can meet at this location,
And like
whatever."
a lot of times on a first date, when I was using apps, I would not allow a man to pick me up for the first date at all.
Okay.
That's like just a safety thing.
Because you
But
never met him in person.
yes, right. And though I've had men offer and I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I love that. Like for future dates, yes, please. But like
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive myself tonight or Uber, whatever,
Yeah.
right? And like
Trust
most men are
issues.
like, yeah,
No, I'm
absolutely.
kidding. No.
Like
no. It's I totally
I don't
understand
know
that.
this guy and he doesn't need to know
Yep.
where I live, right? But yeah, no, I want to be like treated like a princess. And I love when a man wants to like make things more convenient and like easier
Yeah.
for me and like is intentional
That's good.
about that. But I wouldn't expect to like always be like never be like driving or like
I think that's good for me,
balancing
knowing
things
that
out.
if it was a long drive, for her to offer, "Hey, I love you picking me up," things like that. But if it, I'm happy to meet you, things like that. Like that makes me actually want to pick you up even more.
Yeah. Yes.
So just hearing that.
Yes.
Okay, look good.
Should I say one while you're looking?
No.
So,
Okay, go.
oh, I would say a man who's like more active on social media than me, but it's not for business purposes. Like he just dicks around on social media.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know why. That just
I think it's the perception that he has nothing else better to do with his time.
Yeah.
Like he needs attention. That's where that comes from. I would say that, if they seem desperate with texting, they're getting back to you right away, or they're writing way longer messages. I actually fell into that trap where a woman was like, "Let me see the log." And you're like, "Oh, you ruined it. Look at, what are you, like paragraphs? What are you doing?" I'm like,
She was scrolling through texts that you guys had together and
no, not her. She was scrolling. She was a friend.
giving you
giving me some advice. You ruined it there. Look at this. Look how long your messages are. What are you doing? You screwed it up. Go move on. I'm like, I wish I would have known, So we're telling you right now, don't do like your big long paragraphs. And if they don't get back to you, it's okay to maybe follow up once and maybe like a call and then another follow up. But after that, that person just ghosted you. I'm not saying it's right, but yeah, wait. They may be busy, but don't come off needy. A little side thing here is caking your face with tons of makeup for outdoor activities. It's just unattractive. I'll do one more here. I think it's important to have friends who understand the style, because I once dated a girl that I didn't think she looked pretty with what she wore. It looked kind of goofy, like she's like a 16-year-old girl. And I'm like, I don't know. It didn't look elegant. I don't know why. I wish I wasn't superficial like that.
Did you say something?
No way.
Oh, okay.
No way. But I didn't want to say, "Wow, you look beautiful," because I'm like, that looks awful.
Okay.
Oh, your face looks pretty. Like she would have been, "Oh, you don't like what I would." Yeah, that looked bad. So in other words, American Idol, you have bad singers and you wonder, where were their friends? Why would somebody allow this friend to go on American Idol and sing and they suck? Have a friend that would say, "Hey, do you think this looks cute?" Absolutely no. So you need to have friends who have style. And this person didn't.
Okay.
In my opinion.
So this one's pretty specific, but
This is brutal. I
know,
hope
we're
it helps.
dicks. I love
don't know, but that one little thing could tip you over to having that second date, and then it doesn't even matter anymore. First impressions.
Okay, so we've got a few things in this one, but it's men who are like wearing why are pearl necklaces in for
I have a few friends who have the pearl
straight
necklaces.
men? Like, what is going on here?
They're okay.
Or like the dangly earrings.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
I can think of a few.
It's
friends.
like very Gen Z.
Those are musicians.
Okay.
They're creatives.
It might not be like it. I guess it kind of could depend, but this one is kind of like it. Just always kind of gives me an ick. A man who is wearing multiple like designer bracelets. Cartier.
What's multiple? Like three,
like
4?
Two.
Two. That's in that
Two or
caliber?
more. Or 2 or 3. Wait, you don't have.
I have one.
No,
but
no. This is not, ladies and gentlemen.
no, this is
like
$1,000 lava rock basalt from Bali, where they had
No, Okay, but men, and
Nothing's
maybe this is like from going to Equinox in Los Angeles, right? But like men who have like stacks of Cartier love bracelets, which each are like anywhere from 5 to 15 grand, right? Something like that. And then they've also got like a few little bangles of the Van Cleef bracelets, which are the clover ones.
Yeah.
Similarly, like 10 grand bracelet, which is like, okay, cool. You have money. Got it, right? But
Yeah, they want you to know
but
so
that's
that
exactly right. Like I get it, maybe one, maybe two, but there are men who, and this is like specifically also like at my gym.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're here to work out, and you've got
they're there to pick up somebody too,
fancy-
2 for 1.
three fancy ladies bracelets on.
I think it
And-
works for them maybe because they're looking for somebody who's
But-
just looking for money.
Well, it's very much like fishing bait, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna wear these so that somebody knows that I have money.
It'd be
But-
bad if they didn't get any dates from that. It's like, all right, figure it out.
right,
You know,
more,
so
but like
watch this podcast.
two max. After that, it's like
Designer, okay.
it's like you're trying to, I think it's more to impress men though.
Really? Well, because
don't
it's not
know.
attracting women, so you're like,
I don't know.
maybe
And
it's.
these,
I
like,
never
the
thought
ones
about
I'm
that. Like,
thinking
hey, I'm
about-
out of your league. Like, don't even.
The ones I'm thinking about are straight men. I mean, they could be like, not 100% straight, but like, maybe it's a spectrum.
Yeah, yeah.
But maybe they're bi, right? But these are straight men. Like, I think it's different if it's a gay man, right? But there are so many straight men who are wearing their fancy,
In a way,
expensive
why is it different
jewelry.
if somebody identifies as being gay? Why is it different? It's the same thing. It's like, hey, I've got money. I know it's more. Maybe I think what
Because
you're
to
getting
me,
at
it
is it looks
seems
feminine.
feminine.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
Let me put on my pretty
Just more
jewelry
jewelry.
to go to the gym.
However, I will say, look at a lot of musicians because we talk. I instantly thought of a couple of my friends. Look at Mick Jagger, all these things. They're wearing like eyeliner.
Well,
they
that's
get
different, and they've got like a bunch of cool rings on. This is like
So you got to be a musician to pull it off.
no, ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Come on, it's very like men who want to be the princess. That's the
Okay.
energy that it gives off.
Yeah,
And there's only room for one princess in a relationship with me, and that's me.
Think of the spice. If you want to get with me, like yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you gotta do.
So the like stacks of expensive jewelry, excessively, like we get it. You spent a lot of money on those. I went on a date with a man who
Yeah, tell me about
is a
it.
doctor, and he had like a couple of those and was like talking about the next one he wanted to get and stuff like
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah. But then it's talking
Talking
about
about
like,
what he wants to get on it. Was it the first date?
I think it was a first date.
That's horrible.
right. He was like, oh, I really like the whatever.
I'd be in a
color one. And I'm
relationship
like-
talking about jewelry. Like, why would I want to talk?
But then
Anyway.
also is talking about how much like med school debt he pays off every month. And I'm like, you're wearing 30 grand bracelets on your wrist right now. And you're talking about how much debt you have from medical
Yeah.
school. Maybe you shouldn't buy these pretty jewels.
Yeah, maybe unless the interest rate was so low that he's like, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
All
Okay,
right,
what
my
else?
turn.
Yes.
Speaking of the gym and things like that, I think if a woman dresses like an OnlyFans girl in the gym, that's a turnoff. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to want to go up to you and ask you out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're just waiting for somebody to ask them for their OF account. I don't know. Let's see. In general, like if you are a woman and are looking for a fit, attractive guy or somebody who takes care of themselves, make sure you are that person because everybody naturally wants the same or better. So don't be looking for a fit person if you're not willing to go through the effort of taking care of yourself. And make sure that that is seen, I think, on your social media because allow somebody to see, oh, wow, you enjoy being outdoors if that's what you want to attract. So,
Yes. Okay, men who say things like, I'm just trying to hang out with you, or like, I want to kick it, or like, let's
hang
chill.
out.
Like,
yeah. And it's just, and you're like,
Yeah.
you don't know if it's a date.
let's hang out. No, I know what's happening. They don't want to be my friend, but also like, what?
Okay.
And so
What would you
you-
rather them say?
I'd like to take you to dinner, or I'd like to take you on a date, or
Okay.
something like that. Like,
Oh, wow. Well, how long until they say, hey, let's get together where it doesn't feel weird?
I think
When
once
it's
like a
official?
level of like, no, not, but it's
Or
like
even
that
if you're in a
casual,
relationship, I
like,
want to take you out to dinner. I just want to see you.
no. But when it's like in that kind of beginning phase of things,
Okay.
and it's like, oh, well, let's just like hang and see what happens. I'm like, what is
Okay.
that kind of energy? No,
Wow, because you don't know. You want to, okay.
hang and see what happens.
Well, that approach is pretty,
What?
let's just hang and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm
Sounds like
like,
a horrible line.
right? Like that kind of thing.
That'd
Like,
be a great
oh,
pickup line. Hey, you want to hang and see what happens?
let's get together. Let's kick it. And they're like, okay. And then I expect like, what do you have? Or I'll usually just say, what do you have in mind? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Like that sort of thing. And then like, you're fired. You're out of here.
Wow. Have you ever stopped the date because of those icks beforehand? Wow, really?
Oh, I'm cutthroat. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you know, at a
Because I'll
certain
be like,
point.
hey, you know what? I don't think I'm feeling the vibe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, you value yourself and your time.
Yes.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not going to just go on a date because I want to go on a date. No.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're hungry.
No, I'm not that hungry. I'm not that hungry. Take myself. I'm not that hungry.
All right. So what are some,
Wait, I'm not done.
no, I want to hear some icks, but I also want to talk about some of the things that people do on their social media that are not, they can easily change and it would make them much more approachable.
Okay. Let me finish my ex.
Yeah.
first.
You got 30 of them.
Guys who use filters,
Yes.
uses or has Snapchat. Because why?
Oh, wow. That's
why
an
if you're an
interesting
adult
one.
man-
That's good. Yeah.
Why?
It's kind of sus
weird.
that they would
It's
be
weird.
like, why are you on it?
Yeah. I mean,
At this age, I think if you're younger, maybe you get away with it because you have nothing else going on. Like if you're in your
yeah.
very early,
Sure. I mean, this is
you
like
guys are
more-
still excused. You know who you are.
This one's more a deal breaker, but it also would give me the ick. Somebody who regularly watches porn. A man who complains that you don't compliment his looks. That gives me the ick.
Really? Well, don't you like what I'm wearing?
Yeah.
Like
what?
that stuff?
I told you look beautiful. You're not going to say I look good? Like that kind of
Oh
thing.
my gosh.
Which
That's,
like, I'm
that's
very
insecure.
complimentary
Yeah.
and like that, but like, because then it goes to
I
like,
would say if you want that, you're an affirmations person. Talk about the love languages. And
Yeah.
once you're in the love languages, talk about how it matters to you, words of affirmation. Give them a clue. And then if they don't do that, maybe they're not the right person, but you got to be secure within yourself, knowing that you don't need to be affirmed by that person, especially if you're asking for it. It's very unattractive. It's
Yes.
an ick
Yes.
for sure.
And then last one, which I think you would agree.
Last one for today.
For right now, the last one in my brain currently. Don't worry, there's
Just
probably
so impromptu. We just came up with a few and we're talking about it. Just good. I think this is valuable.
following a bunch of like IG OnlyFans type model girls on social media.
Yeah.
And like even
'Cause
just,
women will check.
liking, commenting a lot. Oh yeah, we even did this. So when Justin and I first
yeah, that's
met,
right.
we were like, okay, we gave each other
She
each other's
failed.
phones. I didn't fail, and we're like, look at my content. Does anything give you red flags?
Because
We're
I'm
like,
just like, hey, let's do this right now. Let's go for
I
it.
went through his list of who he's following, and it checks out. It was
Boom.
great balance. Seemed like great normal people that
How do
you're
I look?
following. I don't follow anyone except my own accounts.
Oh, man. A little self-centered. It's all about you.
Keeps them on their toes.
Oh, okay. One of my last icks is people who,
Too mysterious.
yeah. Could that be avoidance? Like maybe you have a past of, you're not following me. Well, I'm just following myself, okay? So it's nobody is going to get in my circle.
You know, actually,
Would your significant other make it? Like if
I'm
you
not
find
even
that?
following my family members right now.
Oh,
but
you're
I'll-
really hiding. You're hiding. That could be a red flag. Let us know in the comments.
let me say why. Because like now at this point, it's like a year and a half ago. I did I did like a super
okay.
detox. Like
Okay,
of
you
all
filtered
the
everything. Yeah.
food. I like cleaned out my house, like so many things. So unfollowed everyone on social
Oh my
media.
gosh, and all the drama too.
Because I didn't, yeah, and all the drama,
cares? No,
it
that's-
felt so good. I wasn't like scrolling as much. It like felt so good. And I
Good.
thought that I would like, oh, I'm gonna go back and refollow friends and stuff. And I was like, I like this.
Wow. Well, that's
like
neat.
it.
That's good to get that perspective. So
Yeah,
get
it
from
helps
judging.
keep me focused. But
I would have never thought that, but hearing that story is respectable
thank you.
because you want to be able to clear out distractions, and you'd rather have in-person encounters anyway.
Yeah,
Like now, we're in person rather than doing this from a remote location because I happen to be here. So this is great.
okay. That's all the icks. So now tips. We want to give them advice.
Tips, yeah, tips on things that I think it's the way I've worded it, or are things that people are doing on social media that,
Mistakes. People. Are
yeah. So For me, right off the bat, because I love to see, I want to see more joy in people's lives. And if I don't see somebody smiling much on their Instagram or like even ever, I've seen some girls' Instagrams and they don't have one smile. And I'm like, it's so serious. It's like the modelly photo
Yeah.
all the time. That's a no for me. I'd like to see some joy. Doesn't mean you need a smile on every one, but something. But I've seen that. Let's see. Overly sexual posts. That's a turn off. I think that just comes off very insecure. They don't know who they are. They're seeking validation. We talked about the filters.
Mm.
Because I mean, you can see it.
Yeah.
You can see it. And it's like, what are you, like a ghost? Like, I don't see any flaw. I don't see a wrinkle. I don't even see anything under nothing. And then every now and then you see like a real one because they're tagged in something. And you're like, dang, you look completely different. Like, that's horrible. Like, that's the worst thing to do to set yourself up. You want to be having okay photos. So when they see you in person, you're like, wow, the worst thing in the world is you look amazing. Oh my gosh, you're disgusting in person. So, not having any photos with groups. Like, I feel like have a group shot in there, throw in one, because then people, if you're interested in somebody, they want to have a sense of who your friends are. They may not be everybody, but I think it's good to have one group photo. That's not a deal breaker, but not having videos of them speaking, that's a big one for me. We talked about that with the dating app. I'd love to, there's a lot of power in your voice, your thoughts, what you say. Hearing that person's voice, I think, is very beneficial. It gives you, because if you don't like their voice, you're probably not going to want to be with them.
I dated a guy, great man, who
Oh, he knows who he is. I hope he's not.
I don't think he watches this. Great man, like, and very masculine man. But for whatever reason, when he would send voice notes, it was just very like effeminate and.
Like in his mannerisms or just his
like in his voice. It wasn't, but like in person and stuff like that was not really how he spoke. And I'm like, why is it in the voice notes that it sounds like that?
Maybe
and the voice notes would give me, the voice notes would give me the ick. And I'm like, he does, like, I've played them for my friends and everything. I mean, this was like years ago. No, they're like, I'm like, I know. I'm like, he doesn't speak like this though. Why does he talk like this in the voice notes? It was weird, but
no filter.
They gave me the ick.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
I mean, that's not why I like ended things with him.
No, but it didn't
but
help.
It didn't help.
All right, I have just a couple more in this category. Women that just have posts and then they have like a 1 or 2 word description all the time. It's like Sunday fun day, whatever, and they'll have like an emoji, and that's it for everything. There's like no depth at all. There's no opportunity for me to see how they express themselves in some way. It's not a deal breaker, but I think it's a bit of a turn off where it's like they're just, and usually those accounts are just, which I wouldn't know about. I just hear about these things. No, but it's just like they're just on the beach and that's what it is,
I would say, from the female perspective, when a man, like men who are just like liking, like we know, like when someone likes a story, it's like a little like, hey, trying to get your attention, I think, right? And so
really, is that what women think?
I think women do think that, and I think it's kind of like a little. I mean, it's very.
So when you look, you're on the top.
It's innocent.
You're on the top.
It's innocent, but it's still
it's like an old school Facebook poke.
Yeah, it's like a poke or a wink, right? It's like a gentle flirt.
Hey, I'm here.
Right, you're not really doing anything, and it could be like. It may not, right? There's enough vagueness to it that you're not certain, but like. Hearting stories and stuff like that
all the time. Yeah, that's pretty obvious.
A lot of that, it's pretty obvious, but also like
that's an ick if they don't do anything about it.
Exactly. That's my point. Is
agree.
I see what you're doing here, and I'm not an idiot. Say it with your chest if you want to actually ask me out.
So you'd want them to actually comment?
I want them to be a man and ask me out if that's what they're doing.
Oh, come on.
Instead of just like
I think comment and don't have them ask you out if you're not even engaging back. I think I get the poke, but comment. But
why would I comment? When all they did was
No, I agree. No, they should comment.
Yeah.
They should comment and start some sort of conversation. For me, I'm not going to ask a girl just on her photo.
Yeah, like I will act dumb to the story replies.
If you liked a guy, would you at least comment back if he commented, is like, oh, I really like that, this, that, or would you just be thinking to yourself, well, unless you ask me out?
Oh no, I will comment back.
Okay, good. So then there's something. I'd like to have something.
As a friend.
Yeah, because okay. I don't want to be asking out the person's assistant,
Right, no. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
My assistant.
You got a message.
My assistant used to check my DMs.
Yeah, well, I have people checking my DMs as well, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's good. So, nothing to hide.
Yeah. Because, like, I get it. It's like a very subtle flirt that you're doing. But, like, if you mean it,
Be
act
more
like you mean
masculine.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a man. One other thing, I've looked at some
Clearly
women's
very chill.
profiles, and as I was scrolling down, I noticed that there were some guys in the photos.
Okay.
And I'm like, what is this? And they're in a relationship. They forgot to delete their old
Yeah.
boyfriend. Yeah, take responsibility, clean it out. It's not like it was a bad memory. Hope, things just don't work out, but delete that. Give the
Yes.
other person room to realize that, oh yeah, you're not taking, because you might be missing those opportunities.
Right.
Check your tagged ones as well.
Exactly.
Because sometimes a
Yes.
guy would be like, oh, well, okay, like that person's in a relationship.
Yeah. And I will say, men, us women, we can find out so much information. I mean, men can too, but I think women do this more. Like,
Yeah.
we'll
They'll
look up,
investigate.
yeah, we'll do a little,
Yeah.
a quick little investigation, and it's like, huh,
Oh, there's another one here.
yeah,
How come you're always around these attractive women?
yeah,
What's going on
huh,
here? Is that a turn off for
oh,
girls? Like if a guy, it could be a turn on or a turn off. If you're a guy that is around a lot of attractive women, not like individual one-on-one, but like they're just around, is that turn on or turn off to you?
uh,
Because you could look at it both ways. Like they're just attractive, or they're just wanting to be around attractive women.
it would kind of depend on why,
Okay.
right? Like,
Always at the beach.
yeah, but also like I think that a man who has a lot of female friends,
Hmm.
especially if a man who has more female friends than male friends, that's
Yeah,
raises
that's
a
good.
flag for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I
Yeah.
like it. All right. A couple of notes that I have here. These are a couple of bonuses that I have. I think it's good to have photos or videos on your Instagram that are not just about you, but they're highlighting somebody else, basically honoring somebody else, whether it's their birthday or saying, oh my gosh, I just want to shout out whatever, because it's like that shows somebody that you care
Yeah.
to talk about somebody else other than yourself.
This is so okay. I'm curious because like with my Instagram, yes, it's my personal Instagram, but it is my brand presence, like for my personal
Yeah.
brand. So I'm not like putting
That's you get the excuse.
yeah.
You're excused from that because it is the brand. It's for that. But at the end of the day, you can do whatever. I'm just saying
Right.
this is a
No, no,
bonus.
yeah, that's why
Where
I
like
was
if you just
curious
said, look, I
about
just
that.
want to, this is my millionth subscriber, and because we're influencers here. No, no, but like I just want to thank people, especially X, Y, and Z, or this person for helping me with these things. Like
Yeah.
you're not afraid to shout somebody out
Yeah.
and highlight somebody.
Yeah.
Or
I
just that to me is like it's a good opportunity that you can choose to honor somebody, and it just shows who you are.
I like that. I haven't really thought of that one.
Or
Yeah.
just talk about your influence, your inspiration of why you even started the podcast,
Mhm.
things like that.
I share a lot of the like personal, like behind the scenes, like that kind of
Oh,
stuff
yeah?
in my stories, but not as much on the like main stuff.
Yeah. So it's just something to think about. I mean, if you're still single, it's probably because of this. Um, Also, I like it when women are intentional with their posts and not afraid to talk about something that's controversial,
Okay.
because it gives me an idea of, okay, they're not afraid to stand up and be different. I think it was Winston Churchill said, if you have an enemy, great. It means you actually stood up for something once in your life.
Yep.
So I want to know that for me, I want a woman that's on the battlefield with me with what I'm called to do, because I love encouraging people and I love standing up for things that are right. I want to make sure that she's somebody who can be along that journey with me. So that's something that I look for. That's a bonus. And then somebody being direct.
Yes.
But yeah.
I need directness too. Yeah.
You mean
I
as
need,
far
I
as like
need
what you
very,
look for?
yes. I need very direct, like
Is this a
clear
date? Is this what it, you don't want to have,
Oh, if there's confusion over if it's a date, it's not a date.
yeah. It's so
In my
funny
brain.
how guys are, we hung out. I've been in so many of those situations though, where it's so impromptu because my life is so kind of crazy right now, but where it's like you have an opportunity to get together with somebody
Yeah.
last minute, you hang out, and then it's like, it's not a date, but it was impromptu and you got to know them one-on-one.
Yeah.
I don't think that
It's
counts
not
as a date.
date, but it's like a not a just, yes.
I
'cause-
think you should initiate a date with that person soon if you're interested. If not, then you're just kind of playing the passive
Yeah.
card. And women will naturally think, well, if they're not going to ask me out, then they're probably not interested. And you
exactly.
could ruin it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, don't put yourself in the friend zone, right?
How long does a guy have before they go in the friend zone?
For me,
This is a good, because what if they're figuring things out? You never know.
so for me, like I can't. I
This is a good one.
I can see her brain working now.
Yeah, this is good.
I've never really dated somebody that I was like friends with first as just
Oh,
friends.
wow,
I think
really?
maybe
Okay.
like a little bit in college, but like not since I've been like the more, adult version of me. It's like if there's like, yeah, it's usually like, oh, there's a
You want to know right
curiosity
away.
or an interest. But like, yeah, so I don't know, like it's not really how long does somebody have that they're in the friend zone. It's like if someone asks me out on an actual date, like they're not in the friend zone, right? But they
Right.
can fall out of if then there's no follow up and like no
Oh, yeah.
intentional action, then I'm like, you've put
Put
yourself in the
yourself in
friend
the friend
zone by
zone.
doing
Yeah.
that.
And I
Yeah.
think I think to back up what you're saying is if you have multiple times where you're getting together and that person has not asked you out, then it's kind of like, then you just take it as, all right, well, this person's just like a friend.
Yeah. Or I'll be like, yeah, I think he's interested, but he hasn't asked me out yet. So I'm thinking of him as a friend, but I feel like he might not be thinking of me as a friend. But
Yes. And then if he's thinking that, then I'd be thinking this. No, 100%.
I'm like, clearly he wants to hang out with me.
Yeah.
And generally, men don't just want to hang out with women to be friends, right?
However, it's so funny. This brings up the question of can people of opposite sex still be friends? Opposite sex be friends and just friends? Because a lot of guys,
I'm curious what you're going to say.
well, like I remember
No, because I have
like,
strong feelings about
a
that.
lot of girls will be saying that, oh my gosh, yeah, I can totally have a guy friend and he's just a guy friend. There's nothing there. But a lot of times the guy is a guy friend that would, at the end of the day, they'd probably be interested,
Yeah.
but
Well,
it just, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But in the back of their mind, it could possibly work out. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of that.
I completely agree with you because I think that when there are men and women who are just friends, one of those people is
Yeah.
holding the boundary.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the people, and it may not be like a spoken thing,
Yeah.
but like generally, and I can only speak as a woman. So like,
Yeah.
I've had male friends where I'm like, if I was like, hey, I'm down, right? It'd be like 1 second, right? Like a hell yeah. I'm
1 second, hell
so
yeah.
humble, right? But so I think that it's very rare to have like completely platonic male female friendships.
There are some exceptions.
I agree. I think that's possible. And there's some exceptions. I think the majority of the time, one person is holding the boundary.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't think that.
It's not a bad thing.
I don't think it's. Yeah.
But
But
like, for example, it would be very odd. I don't know why I'm saying this, but it'd be very odd to have, I don't know, just
say it.
It'd be very odd to have a friend that you hang out with all the time and they're around the same age, opposite sex, and then you think to yourself, if we were the last people on earth, it'd be a no. Like that's probably pretty rare. You're probably not going to be hanging out with them as much.
Yeah.
I don't know, like probably just in groups only,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's some truth to that.
I have male friends who I'll like occasionally grab a coffee or like do a hike with, who I'm like, if I wanted to date them, I'm sure they would be down to date
Yeah.
me. But then and I will say too, like many of my male friends like that are very respectful.
Yeah.
Like, very
Oh,
respectful.
yeah, you wouldn't go with
never
somebody that you
inappropriate,
would-
like that
yeah.
sort of thing. But I'm also not going to have them like come have a chill movie night at my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, they haven't
Right?
earned
'Cause-
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then that's like
You're kind of enabling
confusing, right? That's
them
confusing
to-
the dynamic a
Yep.
little bit, right? And
You don't have time for
and
that.
all No.
So any
Any final?
any final
Thoughts?
thoughts on it? What do you think?
Yeah, everybody.
We have a comment from Jessica right here. No,
Slide into our
back in
DMs.
the lives.
What are some of your icks?
Yeah, like I'm curious. So what are the top icks and what are some discussions that you want to hear more about? I think people would love to hear like the relationship edition.
Yeah.
People love
This
that
was
stuff.
This was great. The people
all
are
right.
loving this.
Yeah, no. They think it's great. Yeah.
They're loving it.
Yeah.
They're loving it, aren't you?
I think it's fun, and also at the end of the day, I think it's just healthy, even just for you and I to express how we feel on these things and know that you're going to agree to disagree. But I think you brought up some really good points that made me think, oh wow, that's very interesting.
Female brain.
Yeah, I know it's great.
Exciting. Yeah. All right. I think
That's
that
it
was
for
a
me.
good
I don't
talk.
really know
I
what
don't
to
have
say.
any more-
This is this is your podcast. You know, if you want to take the lead, and
I'll go. I'll take the lead. I don't want to give you the ick.
we just want to thank you guys very much for, hopping on the Lauren podcast, talking about icks and ways that you should be upping your game on social media and things that you should stop doing right away if you want to have a chance of a relationship.
Exactly. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, had fun listening to it. Would love to hear what you thought, any questions you have, any things you want to hear more of, and I'll see you on the next episode.